Okay, so I'm back in the US now, and I've had some time to process everything that happened. I think I'm ready to talk about it. I need to talk about it, really, because this could happen to anyone. I want to tell you about my trip to Madrid. I'd been planning this solo trip for months, saving up, researching everything. I was so excited. Madrid was supposed to be the highlight of my European adventure. I found this amazing apartment online. It was listed on a popular rental site, had incredible reviews, and the photos were beautiful, bright, airy, with a little balcony overlooking a classic Madrid street. It seemed perfect. The host was super responsive, very friendly. Everything seemed completely legitimate. When I finally landed in Madrid, I was buzzing. The city was just as vibrant and beautiful as I'd imagined. I took a cab from the airport, dragging my suitcase through the charming, narrow streets, until I found the address. The building was old, with that classic European architecture, a huge wooden door. I got the keys from a lockbox, just like the host instructed. The instructions were detailed, easy to follow. Everything was going smoothly. I remember feeling so independent, so capable. I made my way up the winding staircase. The hallway was a bit dark, a little worn, but that's standard for a lot of older buildings in Europe. It had character, I told myself. I found my apartment, number 3B, and unlocked the door. The inside was exactly like the photos. Clean, stylish, with that little balcony. I dropped my bags, kicked off my shoes, and just took a deep breath. I'd made it. I was here. I spent the first few hours just settling in, unpacking a few things, and connecting to the Wi-Fi to let my family know I'd arrived safely. I decided to head out for a walk before it got too late. Grab some tapas and just soak in the atmosphere. The neighborhood was lovely, full of life, people sitting at outdoor cafes, music playing. It was everything I wanted. I felt completely safe. I had a wonderful dinner, a glass of wine, and headed back to the apartment around 10 o'clock, feeling tired, but happy. I locked the door, double-checked it, and got ready for bed. That's when things started to get weird. Around midnight, I was just drifting off to sleep when I heard it. A knock at the door. It wasn't a gentle tap. It was a firm, insistent knock. I froze. My heart started pounding. Who would be knocking on my door at this hour? I thought maybe it was a mistake, someone with the wrong apartment. I stayed completely silent, hoping they'd just go away. The knocking stopped after a minute. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. I tried to calm myself down. It's a big city, an old building, probably just a neighbor who had a little too much to drink. I tried to go back to sleep, but I was on edge now. Then, about an hour later, it happened again. Knock, knock, knock. This time it was louder, more demanding, and then I heard a man's voice, speaking in Spanish. It was muffled, but I could hear the tone. It wasn't friendly. I crept out of bed and tiptoed to the door, peering through the peephole. All I could see was the distorted shape of a man standing there. I held my breath, not making a sound. He knocked again and then tried the doorknob. Jiggle, jiggle. My blood ran cold. He muttered something I couldn't understand, and then, finally, his footsteps receded down the hall. I was terrified. I couldn't sleep. I just sat on the bed, staring at the door, listening to every single creak and groan of the old building. The night felt endless. Around 3 a.m., another knock. A different person this time, I think. I didn't even bother looking. I just sat there, my phone in my hand, my finger hovering over the emergency call button. What could I even tell them? Someone is knocking on my door. Would they take it seriously? I felt so alone, so vulnerable. I started to look around the apartment, not as a tourist anymore, but as someone trapped. I noticed things I hadn't before. The lock on the door. It looked like it had been tampered with. There were deep scratches and dents all around the deadbolt, like someone had tried to force it open, many times. My stomach turned. Why didn't I see that when I came in? I guess I was just too excited, too trusting. Then my eyes landed on the smoke detector on the ceiling, right above the bed. It looked a little off. It was a standard white plastic dome. But there was a tiny, perfectly round black dot in the center that didn't look like part of the design. It looked like a lens, a camera lens. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. I stood on the bed to get a closer look, and there it was. A tiny, dark, gleaming lens pointed directly at the bed. I felt violated. I felt sick. Who was watching? How long had this been here? Every good feeling I had about this place evaporated, replaced by pure fear and disgust. The beautiful apartment was a trap. I didn't sleep at all. I stayed awake until the sun came up, sitting on the floor in the corner of the room. as far from the door and the camera as I could get. The moment I saw daylight streaming through the window, I started packing. I threw everything into my suitcase, not even bothering to fold my clothes. I just wanted out. As I was about to leave, I heard a door open down the hall. An older woman, a neighbor, was stepping out of her apartment. She saw me, saw the look on my face, and her expression softened with pity. She approached me cautiously. "Another one?" she asked in broken English. I just nodded, my eyes filled with tears. She told me everything. She explained that the apartment had been used for years as a place for illicit encounters. It was a known spot. The owner would rent it out to men for short periods. Even though it was now listed on a mainstream vacation rental site, the old clients didn't know. They still had the address. They just kept showing up night after night, expecting the same service. They thought I was one of the girls. The men knocking, the busted lock, the camera. It all clicked into place in the most horrifying way. She told me I was the fourth woman in 2 months she'd seen leave the apartment in tears in the middle of the night. She said she'd tried reporting it, but nothing ever changed. I grabbed my suitcase and I ran. I didn't look back. I found the nearest hotel, checked in, and just sat on the bed and cried for an hour. I reported the listing. I sent furious messages to the host, who of course never replied. The rental company eventually gave me a refund, but it felt so hollow. The money wasn't the issue. The issue was the terror, the violation. The fact that these platforms allow these things to happen. My dream trip to Madrid turned into a nightmare. It's a reminder that you have to be so careful. You can't always trust the reviews. You can't always trust the photos. You have to trust your gut, and if something feels wrong, it probably is. Get out. Don't wait. Your safety is more important than anything. Please be careful out there.